Good afternoon, YouTube. It's your man, George Page, coming to you live on YouTube. Like I said, this is officially the last day of February, the 29th. And once February's over, that's in that Black History Month. But you know what? Every so often, I'm going to put down some Black History facts. Because you know what? Black History should be celebrated just once a year, or 1 month. It should be celebrated every year. Because, as I said before, we are part of this country. And we made the history of this country. And we should always be reminded of how much we contribute to make America what it is now. We can never forget that. And I want to speak about this young man right here. And he is, he is a revolutionary for our time. Like in the mode of like Ali, or when Carlos and Johnson put their fist up, in black unity. This is one Colin Kaepernick. Now, young Colin was born November the 3rd of 87 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now, he was born to a single mother because his father left his mother before he was born. So his mother decided to put young Colin up for adoption. Later, he was adopted by Richard and Teresa Kaepernick. Now, the Kaepernicks, took care of Colin for a very long time. And when they were living in Wisconsin, they moved to California. When Cap was 4, by the time he was, when they moved to California. By the time he was 8, Colin was playing youth football as a defensive and a punter. Now at 9, he was starting quarterback for his team. Now at John H. Pittman High School, Colin played football, basketball, and baseball. And he also had a 4.0 grade point average and was nominated for all-state selection in all 3 sports. Now, he was the MVP of Central California Conference in football, and he led his football team to his first ever playoff victory. Also, in basketball, he was a first-time all-CCC selection at forward and led 16th ranked team to near upset of a number 1 ranked Oak Ridge High School in the opening round of the playoffs. Now, Collins scored 34 points, but the team lost when the future NBA player Ryan Anderson scored 50 points to beat Collins' team in the playoffs. While in high school, Collins got a lot of accolades as a pitcher and was offered several baseball scholarships, but really he wanted to play football at college. On the February of 2006, Collins signed a full scholarship with the University of Nevada in Reno. Cat was a backup quarterback and played in 11 games out of 13. He finished the season with 19 passing TDs, 3 interceptions, 2,175 passing yards with a 5.8% completion. Now he also had 593 rushing yards and 6 rushing TDs. Nevada Wolfpack had a 6-7 season. By his sophomore year, his passing went up to 2,849 yards, then 22 passing TDs, 7 interceptions, and 1,130 rushing yards. He also became the fifth player in NCAA history to pass 2,000 yards and rush for 1,000 or more yards in a single season. Now, at the Humanitarian Bowl, he had 370 passing yards, 3 passes, and 2 interceptions, 15 rushing yards, and 1 rushing TD. Even though his team lost, he still was the game's MVP and was designated the WAC Offensive Player of the Year. Now, his last sophomore year to win the award, he was Marshall Faulk at San Diego State back in '92. That's amazing. I mean, Marshall Faulk is a legend. But, Cat was just doing it. I mean, he had the potential. He was also named first team of all WAC quarterback. And in 2009, the Major League Baseball won a draft for him for the 43rd pick for the Chicago Cubs. But he wanted to continue his football career in college. That's surprising. He could have went on and, been a pitcher. You used to say he was a good pitcher, and he could have played for the Cubs. That's good. He could have, do like some of the other guys did, like Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson, play both sports. But being that he was a pitcher, they probably rather him just play baseball because pitcher's arm is very variable. The last thing you want to do is hurt your arm when you're playing football. Anyway, he continued his football career in college and didn't sign with the Cubs. In his junior year, he had the Wolfpack to finish 8-5 record, and they finished second to the undefeated Boise State. I forgot what his name, Boise State, yeah. He also earned second team all WAC quarterback all-time, player. I mean, he was just that good. Now, by November 26th of 2010, Colin led his team to a 34-7 overtime victory against Boise State, breaking the undefeated streak. It was his final game as a senior. Nevada head coach called the game the most important win in the history of the program. Cat finished his collegiate career with over 10,000 passing yards, 82 passing TDs, 24 interceptions, over 4,000 rushing yards, and almost 60 rushing TDs. He was the first quarterback in Division I football college history to have passed for over 10,000 yards and rushing for over 4,000. That's pretty good. That's amazing. He was just that good of an athlete. Now, also he tied for the most, career rushing touchdowns by a quarterback. He even maintained his 4.0 GPA during college and graduated, in 2011 with a bachelor's degree in business management. And he's a smart dude too. Colin, hey, you don't often have to, you have to have, brains and brawn is a good combination to have, especially in sports. Now, Colin was eligible for the 2000 NFL draft, and on April the 29th, San Francisco 49ers traded with the Denver Broncos to select Kaepernick as the fourth pick in the second round at the draft. Cat was a backup quarterback for then 49ers starter quarterback Alex Smith. In 2012, Colin scored his first TD in the fourth game with the 49ers against the New York Jets. In that game against the St. Louis Rams, Cat replaced Smith in the second half because Smith suffered a concussion in the first half. The game ended with a 24 tie. I think I remember that game. That seems such a long time ago, but I remembered it. Now, in the next game, Colin defeated the Chicago Bears 32-7. Because of his performance, Coach Jim Harbaugh made Colin the starting quarterback for the rest of the season. In his first preseason game, Cap set an NFL single record for the most rushing yards by a quarterback, breaking Michael Vick's 2002 regular season record. He also broke 49ers postseason rushing yards. In 2012, the 49ers became the NFC champs with advance over to the, what was that year? I think it was the Super Bowl that year was, I think it was the 56 Super Bowl 57. I think Super Bowl 57, I think it was. But the 49ers lost to the Baltimore Ravens, that year. That was the year that, I feel it was the last, that was, what's the name of the last game? Derek Lewis, not Derek Lewis, what's his name? Forgot his name, you know who I'm talking about. It's his last game. In 2013, the 49ers with Cap was looking to return to the Super Bowl. During the season, he threw for a career high After beating the Carolina Panthers, the 49ers faced the Seattle Seahawks for the NFC Championship. But they lost because of two interceptions that were caught and the Seahawks were able to go to the next year's Super Bowl. Before the start of the 14th season, Colin signed a 6-year contract extension with the 49ers for at least $126 million, with $54 million, it's a signing bonus, a potential guaranteed, and $13 million fully guaranteed. Now, at the end of the season, the 49ers missed making the Super Bowl and the playoffs. And the head coach, Jim Harbaugh, left San Francisco, become the coach at University of Michigan. And by 2015, Cap announced he was missing the season due to his shoulder injury. By February the next year, Colin experienced an interest in being traded. 2016, Colin found the Know Your Rights Commission, a seminar which is held for disadvantaged youth to teach them about self-empowerment, American history, and legal rights. During the 2016 preseason, Colin was seen sitting at the sidelines during the playing of the Star Spangled Banner. Cat was also protesting the death of black people by law enforcement, which created the Black Lives Movement. Now, because of that, people were saying that it was about the soldiers. No, it wasn't about that. Cat was protesting the violence that that happens upon people when it's involving law enforcement. How when we are stopped for just a little thing like a speeding thing, and they want to push it past them what more than it is. How some white people, when a situation happens, like you watch enough news, when a situation happens with a white guy and he's ready to kill somebody, the cops are not as quick to kill him. But like good examples like with Freddie Gray, Sandra Bland, Fidel Castro. Sorry, I know his name right. I know it's Philando Castile. I mean, the list of many black people who were killed, and they were just living. And you can't forget Trayvon Martin. Even though he was not killed by a black police officer, he was killed by somebody for a stupid law called Stand Your Ground in Florida. Now, Cap, after that, we all know that the 49ers dropped him because under the pressure of his protests. Originally he was sitting at the sidelines, but he decided he had to talk to a guy who was a former Army Ranger who told him that to pay respect to when we have a fallen comrade, we kneel. And that's the same thing like when you pray. You kneel when you pray. But people had a problem with that because he was kneeling through a song that was created by a guy who hated black people, and they cut that part out. But people forget that used to be back in the day, that national anthem, the players were in the back. Because after 9/11, the U.S. government paid the NFL millions of dollars to start this whole patriotic stuff, which try to get recruitment increased for the military. And then you don't forget Pat, what's the face? The guy who left the Arizona Cardinals to go fight for his country, but get killed by his own fellow soldiers. Now, Cat's been doing a lot of charity work. Just like just the last Super Bowl, while he was Jay-Z and Beyonce was sitting in doing the national anthem, he was giving out food, helping guys with suits. He's given millions to charity. He even sold some shoes and stuff. I mean, and then it was that long ago he had that lawsuit against the NFL for conclusion, which was meaning that they were blocking from trying to make a job. And he won that lawsuit, and he still got some money. Cap is what we call like we remember, if you remember, especially you boxing fan, you remember when Muhammad Ali was going through this stuff. Problem with Ali, he couldn't make money. He was barely just getting by. But what he was doing to make ends meet was doing these seminars, going to colleges, and getting paid to be a speaker. That's where he survived most often. Even though he made more money as a boxer, he was surviving off of that. Now, in this period of time, Cap is doing pretty good because he has like a company like Nike that supports him. And Nike's like this. Nike's don't care about Black Lives Matter or anything else. It cares about making money. And Cap knows it. He's no idiot. As I said, he has a degree and a bachelor's in business. He understands how business works. So he's going to take advantage of them needing him. And I respect him for that. And what stuff he's doing. Now, we know a while back he has that tryout for the Baltimore Ravens, and nothing went out of that. That was just there for him, maybe just to stretch his muscles. There's also talk that Cap might play for the XFL. Now, you remember back in the day, Vince McMahon created the XFL. It was this little football league he wanted to quit it because when football was over. Like when Vince McMahon had, done, years ago. And that was a short-lived thing. But, now it's starting to get some strength because somebody actually want to put some money to it. And Cap might be looked at as a possible quarterback. You got to give respect to somebody like Colin Kaepernick. People are saying, well, ain't his mother white and he has half black? It doesn't matter. Like I always remember back in the day when slavery was just a drop, you're still considered black. And he has nothing to prove. And like he said that it's not about the military. It's not about disrespecting the flag. It's about letting people know that black people have been systematically targeted by racism for years in this country. And we need somebody to represent us, to remind us, And if you, I'm almost like to you Trump supporters, you right-wing nuts, you don't know, you forget this country was created on rebellion. It wasn't for people like George Washington and the original forefathers of this country who wanted to get from under British rule. You wouldn't have it in America. And you forget the people you drug here, who worked to create this country, who built this country. We have as much a part of this country as anybody else, just as much as you, if not more. Colin Kaepernick, he is what we call, what's going to happen to him? History is going to be on his side. And the people who know that are the smart ones. The people who don't know that are the dumb ones. And what's going to happen is that somebody down the road, I don't know if who's going to be the next president this time, but maybe the president after that, he's going to get honored. He is. He's going to be put in the same position as the 68 guys who protested the Olympics, and the same position as Muhammad Ali. And and history, and that's true for history. History, I always say that the rebels, people who rebel and who are hated by the majority, will eventually become seen as heroes. I gotta respect Colin Kaepernick, what he's doing. He sacrificed his career and his livelihood to stand up for the right thing to do, where some people don't have enough guts to do it. There's an old saying: you don't stand for anything. Let me correct myself. You don't stand for something, you fall for anything. Thanks, Cap. Thank you. It's your man, George Page. Like, subscribe. Don't subscribe. I'm out.